All right, raise your hand if you are absolutely sick and tired of being ripped out of your sleep by fire alarms in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
Yes, I am. I'm done. The dog's done. I'm done. I've been done ever since it started.
You feel really strongly about that, BB Nate.
I do. The dog was freaking out.
Okay, what do you guys suggest we do tonight if it goes off for a third night in a row?
We smash it with a hammer.
No, blast it Han Solo style.
Something's going to happen. I don't know what. But we'll why to do this. Why don't we get to the show after these ads specifically chosen for you by a bunch of companies that you've probably never heard of. This is Tatooine Sons.
Achuta, Star Wars, DC, Marvel.
What's our fourth
I know.
one this week?
I gotta prepare.
You gotta
these.
prepare.
Let's do Transformers. Let's do
Transformers.
Okay,
There we go.
Yeah.
Before we get into today's show, I'd like to remind you that Tatooine Sons has a TeePublic store. You just gotta go check out. We got lots of shirts and mugs and stickers and throw pillows with all your favorite characters.
Wall art.
Phone cases, coffee mugs.
From all of your pop culture franchises. I don't know if we have anything Transformers though. We should.
No, but we do have a new Bed Betch shirt.
Bed bitch.
I didn't tell you guys about this, did I?
No.
The Bed Betch. It's got Hunter, Rekka,
Iku.
Echo,
Iko.
Tick,
Rika.
Omega, and then
Omega.
underneath the Bed Betch. It's spelled like that.
That's
Oh, no,
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, anyway, so that's on the TeePublic store. So.
All right. Well, the best part about it, though, is that 100% of the proceeds from your purchase goes to help children in poverty with Run Child. You get some really cool pop culture swag and get to change a child's life at the same time. Just click on the link here in the show notes and take a look around while we get this show started.
Awesome.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen to it.
We are not prepared for that situation. Mr. Bill would be so ashamed of the way we handled that.
So if you're listening to this, the last two nights in a row, in the middle of the night, our fire alarms go off. And we don't have simple smoke detectors. We have a fully integrated smart home fire alarm system.
That tells you fire.
Yeah, it's
fire,
like everything
fire.
starts flashing in the house, and all the smoke detectors, now there's 8 of them in different rooms, start yelling fire, and beeping
so loud.
And it's honestly the last 2 nights in the middle of the night, it's been like that episode of The Office, BB Nate.
Oh, guys,
fire.
it's happening.
It's happening. Yeah. So anyway,
Just watch that tonight. You know.
Yeah, welcome. No, well, yeah, we should watch it sometime. Welcome to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of this generation, and that there is a story. It's written on our souls, and that these myths speak to that story. And that's why we talk about things like Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings, and maybe someday, if they ever make another really good movie like Bumblebee, Transformers. Again, I am David. I'm the dad. I'm joined by my sleepy but really good sons. How are you doing today, Mr. Sam?
Tired, but good.
Yeah, what are you talking about today?
Well, of course, last week I scrambled to find any information on the Eternals. And then this week they dropped the trailer, so we're going to go ahead and break that down.
I am more excited about this film than ever before. I can't wait to talk about it. BB Nate, what are you talking about?
I'm going to break down and kind of cover all of the Injustice series and kind of what the hype around it is, because we're getting a movie, even though it's not been officially announced
animated
yet.
movie?
Yes.
Very nice.
Well, I mean, the trailer has been leaked as being part of the bonus features on the Long Halloween. I think we talked about that last week.
That's
Part 2.
Yeah, so we went to PensaCon last week.
We did.
Yeah. Didn't go the way we thought, but it was awesome.
It was still a lot of fun.
No interviews with like celebrities. They all got turned down.
That's okay. It's okay.
am sad. But we did get to meet Ashley Eckstein.
That was awesome.
That was super
photo.
fun.
It was super fast. It was like, 14 seconds before we walked out of there.
I feel like I was getting my driver's license photo.
Yeah, it was super fast. Next. But it was fun.
It was fun.
She's super sweet.
Yeah, I really enjoyed her panel, though.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
that
her
was one
panel
of the best
great.
panel. I think that was probably the best panel there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a
and,
Voice Your Dreams. It was with Brett Iwan.
Yeah.
And so Brett Iwan is the voice of Mickey Mouse official. And of course, we all know who Ashley Eckstein is, the voice of Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano. But they were talking about sort of their story of growing up and wanting to be, involved in entertainment and Disney and all that kind of stuff, and how they made their dreams come true. And they did this really inspiring, talk about that. It was the very first time they'd ever done it. They've been waiting for over a year.
It seems like this is going to be a reoccurring one.
It is. It's all over. I was looking at it today. They've actually got it scheduled in a bunch of different
That's so
cons
cool. We're
the rest of the year.
the inaugural, or is that's not the word?
Yeah.
Inaugural, members of the Voice Your Dreams.
Yeah, they gave out these little membership cards.
I think it got washed.
Oh, well, I've got mine. So
Mine's in my wallet.
Yeah, that was cool. We on Friday night we got to go see Murr.
Yeah,
from Practical Jokers.
That was so cool.
You like that show a lot, Sam?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially Nathan. I think he likes it more than
Really?
me.
Yeah.
I do. I've always found it to be something fun to watch, and kind of it's a break from other TV, and kind of like the shows we watch are crime shows, and they're really kind of depressing.
And then you got these three idiots just making fun of each other.
Four idiots.
Four idiots. That's right.
And they're just having fun.
Yeah.
And it's a nice break, and just it's like, kind of like, you can breathe.
Yeah, and Murr was really, really good, and it was inspiring too.
And I got a question answered that I've always had for this show.
So, what was your question?
So it was, what do you guys? How often do you guys get recognized, and what do you do
when they're pulling one of their gags or their
he was like, it actually happens a lot, and he explained that sometimes before a challenge they'll have one of the jokers stationed somewhere, and if people recognize that joker, then they're set off to the side. They say thank you for coming, and so that was really cool to have that question answered. I'd always wondered that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was fun, and above all, it was just kind of fun to be at a con.
It really was.
It was
with it, mass of people jammed into tighter spaces than we've been used to for over a year, and cosplay and comic books galore. Nathan, you got a comic.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Oh, I got Batman Gothic.
Yeah,
Grant Morrison's
the whole series.
first series.
And Samuel the Hutt, you got a comic.
He didn't get very much, and
You got
it
one.
wasn't.
I got the comic where there was the first appearance of John Walker.
John Walker, U.S. agent. I'm pretty sure John Walker made an appearance before that, but this was for his first appearance as U.S. agent.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm
which is
cool.
bigger than just a first appearance.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, so that's what we did most of last weekend. And then Sunday and Monday, really, were sort of taken up with somebody's 20th birthday. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
So,
I do not feel a year older.
Yeah, how was your birthday?
It was a lot of fun. It was nice. I mean, it was just family and
which was awesome.
and things like that. And it was nice. It was super nice to have everybody in one place, and we just hung out and had cake and had slightly disappointing explosions on the cake.
Oh, that was pretty cool. That video's on
our Facebook,
and our Instagram. You can
but
find
that was a lot of fun to hang out with.
Let's go back to Instagram and Facebook, though. Thank you so much, Savannah.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Savannah.
thank you, Savannah.
You've got a new nickname for the show.
Social savvy.
Because somebody called her social. She said, "Oh, you're really social savvy," meaning like savvy with social media.
And we're like,
and her name is Savannah. And we're like, that's her name now.
It's perfect
going forward, because she helped all weekend at Pensacon with that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm trying to recruit her ever so gently into doing more of that. But yeah, what was what was one of the coolest, like pop culture related things that you got for your birthday?
Yeah, I have been asking and wanting this RPG game for Star Wars. Just think D&D, but in Star Wars.
It really is.
It's exactly what it is. And it was fun because that night you, Nathan, Savannah, and I played a quick session of it, and it was super fun. You guys threw me for such a loop with all the things because I was the game master. You guys were the players. You guys did stuff I never would have thought would have worked.
Well, this is the first time you've ever even played this game, and you're being a game master, so that's hard for you, too.
Right, and it was so much fun. I can't wait for us to play another session.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to play a little bit more this weekend.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
With it, that's awesome. And I'm excited because...
I'm excited, too. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I am a new trivia trivia jockey, is what they're called.
Oh, is that what it's
That's
called?
my official title.
I like it.
I am now a trivia jockey with Pop Culture Trivia Challenge. And so on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I will be going to Fish River Grill. The first one on Tuesday nights in Fairhope, and the other one is in Foley, Alabama, of course. And we're having at a restaurant for a couple hours, helping all these teams play pop culture trivia. So the first one in Fairhope on Tuesday nights is going to be 80s pop culture.
Nice.
So that's one that I'm definitely going to have a lot of fun with. And then I'm excited about Wednesday nights in Foley.
I'm very excited
because it's all about The Office. And,
Nice.
BB Nate is a huge fan of The Office. Sam, you like it?
I can only take it in small portions, but I do like it.
I can watch a bunch.
Yeah,
for
Nathan can watch it, but your girlfriend,
She loves it.
and that's the closest pop culture that we're going to be for her. So she's going to hopefully be able to come.
Yeah,
and maybe-
Wednesdays are her days off too, so it should work out.
So that's
just
going to be a
fine.
lot of fun. So if you happen to be in Lower Alabama, LA, then you can come out to that's
Not
what they
that
call
LA.
it. That's literally what they call it around here.
yeah,
They call it
Not
LA.
Los Angeles, Lower Alabama. It's
Yeah,
not,
so-
not as interesting.
Yeah.
Not as
Anyway,
exciting.
you can come on out to Fish River Grill either on Tuesday night in Fairhope or Fish River Grill in Foley Wednesday nights and play with that. So that'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's get into the show. Last week's episode of the Bad Batch went exactly as we'd foreseen. I mean, everything was predicted in that one. And then this week, not so much. Can you say side quest with
Just
this?
so y'all know, you guys are going to end up doing this in the game. Lots of side quests.
Yeah, there we go. As we've learned from previous Star Wars animation, these types of episodes always give us little nuggets of gold that make them
Yes.
very special, like a possible origin story for the Rancor from Return of the Jedi. Nice. That was great. We got a little glitch on there. This is Tatooine Sons.
Wokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
My second favorite, third favorite Star Wars movie.
Well, it used to be your first, so what are the other two?
So it was my first, and then Last Jedi came out.
Okay.
And then Solo beat it by just a tad.
Just hair. What about the Rancor scene in that? Did that scare you when you were little?
No, it didn't scare me. I felt really bad for the Rancor.
It scared the crap
I
out
thought
of me.
Because it slowly dies, and the guy's he's like really sad, and I'm like, poor dude.
It's even worse when you've read Aftermath.
I'm not going to.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. So let's talk about this episode of The Bad Batch since, everybody's wanting to talk about the Rancor. It's already dividing Twitter, by the way.
Why is it dividing
There's like
Twitter?
a big explosion on Twitter today about the Rancor. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we get into some details on this, what are your initial thoughts on Bad Batch Episode 5, Rampage?
Are you saying that side quest is your nice way of saying filler?
No, I don't think so. No, okay, let's talk about that because I use that word side quest and some people might think that's negative.
Yeah.
I don't. Some of the best episodes of The Mandalorian would be considered side quests. When I say side quests, Mando has to accomplish something. He goes to a planet. He wants to accomplish it. He finds somebody that could help him do that, but they won't help him until he does something else. And so then that's what that episode is. And get to the end of the episode, he gets from that person what he needs. That's classic video game side quest.
Absolutely, yeah.
Stuff. And so that's not a problem. That's a storytelling technique that's out there.
And oftentimes during side quests and stuff, the characters grow and you learn more about them.
And that's what this episode was with it. And so I don't think it's negative on that. But what were your thoughts on the episode in general?
Really enjoyed it. One little tidbit I loved how they actually showed how Echo got his helmet on finally.
Yeah, I saw.
Did they? I didn't see that.
They did a while ago. How they always use clever shots to hide Echo whenever he put on his helmet because his cybernetics and the helmet wouldn't go over it. Like it wouldn't fit. But they showed in this trailer,
in this thing, it kind of
episode.
it kind of extends when he puts it on, and then it latches
closes back in.
Smart.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
They're basically like, how can we make this as obvious as possible because people are just going to keep mentioning it the whole time.
I always wondered how you got
Yeah.
it
So
on.
you liked the episode though?
I did like the episode. It was just a lot of fun. So
good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what more fun can you have when you throw in a baby Rancor? Like, come on, that's fun.
A rampaging adolescent rancor.
Yeah, I liked this episode a lot. I do think it was a classic side quest episode, but the implications and the ramifications of the story are significant going forward. It is part of character development. This isn't a 6-episode Falcon and Winter Soldier series.
Right.
This is a 16 episode season 1, from what I believe. I think we're getting more seasons. And so they have more time to let things air. So you were going to say something, Sam?
No, I was just saying, like, another thing I really liked about this is how Omega is a kid, but she's actually like listening now. Like she's taking orders, and she's a useful member of the team. She's really helping out. I love that.
So do you think she has growth accelerant, or do you think she grows at the normal rate?
Like a Boba Fett?
I think it's
because
normal.
it might be. You think it's normal,
and I don't think it matters really in the end.
It could matter. It could develop into a storyline going forward on that. All right. So here's the deal. They go. There's this informant, this supporter of the Jedi from the Clone Wars era, named Sid.
Not SID.
A little
it's CID.
I get, it's like, I love the Trandoshan grandma vibes.
Yeah. Trandoshan, like Bosk and that kind of thing.
But short.
Exactly. So, but she's on Ord Mantell. Do you guys remember the significance of Ord Mantell as a planet?
I remember the name.
Kind of like Pantora last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is from Wikipedia because, honestly, who does it better than them? And by the way, Turbis is canon and he's on there. Okay. By the time of the Clone Wars, Ord Mantell became a home to a large base for the Black Sun crime syndicate. Nevertheless, in the years following the Battle of
I was just yawning.
Yeah. In the years following the Battle of Geonosis, Ord Mantell was most important as one of the planets that both the Grand Army of the Republic and the Galactic Republic Navy used as a storage facility, barracks, and a fleet support base. Additionally, Ord Mantell served as the headquarters for the Republic's 8th Sector Army. Now, in the waning days of the Republic, a battle was fought on the planet between the Shadow Collective, led by Maul, of which the Black Sun was a member, and the Confederacy of Independent Systems. This assault was launched by the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, Count Dooku, and General Grievous as part of their campaign against the Shadow Collective. I believe that was the comic books, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was the Darth Maul comic book series.
That's right. Yes, I read those series.
Yeah, it was good. Nate, what are some ways, it's interesting we're on Ord Mantell. They're bringing this in here. There's crime syndicates. Shadow Collective has a history there. Maul's around at this point in the timeline. What are some ways that you think Maul could appear in the Bad Batch?
I don't know. I don't know if I even want him to. I mean, he's in everything. I mean, it's like they're trying to get every single big animated character put into the movies and every other form of media. And so it would be cool. I wouldn't mind it, but I'm going to stay with, I don't want to see him yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Wait till season 2. There we go.
I'm siding with Nathan here. Part of the coolness of the character, I'll just use that word, is that he's so mysterious and he's not like everywhere all at once. You start throwing him into everything and it just kind of gets like, all right. And what was cool is, in Rebels, he just showed up and we're like, whoa, Maul's in this. Or, obviously Solo, him just showing up at the end. Crazy. This is just like, okay, it's Clone Wars. Of course you would put Maul in there. Okay. We need more Maul. So I'm hoping they hold him for something else. Maybe Solo 2. But,
yeah, hashtag make Solo 2 happen.
Make Solo 2 happen.
We weren't there to record at that point, so yeah.
What are you talking about? We talked about that last week.
We talked about that last week?
We did.
Yeah.
It's been a weird week.
Anyway, yeah. All right, let's talk about what I called the side quest with it. So they get there on Ord Mantell. They run into Sid. We'll talk a little bit about this with Omega a little bit later. But they identify this Trandoshan as being Sid, and Sid knows information. They want the Bad Batch is looking for information about who Fennec Shand is.
Actually, Omega identifies who
Sid
is.
And like I said, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But Sid knows stuff, but she won't give it to him.
Not for free, at least.
Unless they go accomplish this mission. The mission is there's a child of some sort named Moochie, is that it? Moochie, that needs to be rescued from being sold as a slave. And so the Bad Batch is enlisted to go save this slave child and rescue it, and then they'll get the information from Sid. So that's the way the mission starts, but it takes steps down. A few minutes later, you start realizing they're actually going to get paid for rescuing a slave. And Iko doesn't seem to really like that idea. Did you guys see that reaction when he was talking about, oh, and yeah, we're going to make some credits off of it too?
Yeah. I mean, he was a soldier. Soldiers don't get paid for what they do. He just wants to do it as, out of the kindness of his heart.
And I think it's not just about, I think that's the last part is the most important thing. He thinks like slavery is bad. It's been outlawed in the Republic. It's wrong. He knows it's wrong. He seemed to be very vocal about that.
Yeah.
And we're going to get paid to save this instead of it being just the right thing to do. And so he doesn't seem to like that. And then it even continues to go down. Again, we're skipping into the story a little bit, but this topic sort of forces us to do that because we find out later in the episode, not only are they going to get paid for rescuing this Moochie, right? Mm-hmm. But they're actually in the employment of Jabba the Hutt at this point, because Bib Fortuna, who works for Jabba, is the one that wants this Moochie character. And what do you think about this, Sam? When is Hunter, as the leader of this group, this Bad Batch, when is he going to realize that these compromises, these slippery slopes might be going too far?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, this is part of like the Saw Gerrera Mon Mothma kind of thing. How much is too much? They need to fight against this empire, but at what point does it become unethical or immoral to themselves, So I think that's what we're going to see him do. He's going to, we need to keep the Bad Batch together. We need to survive. I need to protect Omega. And he just keeps making compromises for that till he eventually realizes we're doing more harm than good at this point. Mm-hmm. He's compromised his own beliefs. Anyway.
No, were you going to say something?
It was completely different.
Okay. A different topic?
Yeah, it's just, all
right, we'll bring it back. BB Nate, what can the Bad Batch do if they decide to walk away from, whatever this is, the thug life or whatever it is? Yeah.
I don't even think that they're crossed over into that portion yet, and I don't think that they will. Solely because Echo is the voice of reason in this, because he's seen the bad parts of people, of civilization. I mean, with him, he's the living example of that.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he'll ever go through and allow them to do that. And I don't even think that,
Hunter even showed.
Hunter wouldn't do it.
He was worried when she said the word mercenaries. He was like, really? So I don't think it's just Echo that's thinking about this.
No.
All right. So we've got Moochie now. So they get to this planet. We see these Falleen, this adolescent Falleen. Do you guys understand the importance of the Falleen in the Star Wars world?
No.
That green character? That green
no.
people? This goes back to Shadows of the Empire, classic expanded universe theory. Prince Xizor, who's the leader of Black Sun, was Falleen.
Oh, that's that species. Okay.
So when I saw that, I was kind of like, whoa, what the heck are we seeing here? That was pretty cool for me. So I loved that. And we all think, and of course it was a red herring. It was supposed to make you think that they're going to be rescuing this Falleen to adolescence.
This little kid. Yeah.
It's not. We find out Moochie is actually the rancor that Omega frees in order to try to free the Bad Batch. They get captured. If you're listening to this show and you haven't watched
haven't seen the episode,
then we're sorry you've been spoiled, but that's what we do. So so anyway, we find out that Moochie is not a child or a teenager. Moochie is a rancor. And by the end of this episode,
do they have rebellious teenage years?
Apparently, didn't seem too happy. But this rancor is being purchased. We start learning, it was cool, right? Rancor. It's an adolescent rancor. That was fun. And then we see Sid. It flashes over to Sid, where Sid is having a conversation with the person that's facilitating this deal on hologram, and it's a Twi'lek, and you look and you're like, it's Bib Fortuna. So then it becomes clear that Jabba the Hutt is in here, and then light bulbs start going off and flags start going, because we're about 20 years, maybe 23 years before the famous Rancor scene in Return of the Jedi. And that's a grown-up rancor. Are we talking about the same rancor here? Is this, is that the way you guys?
That's how I interpreted it.
Oh yes,
they just saved the rancor that we see in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's where it gets a little bit muddy this is where Twitter has started to have its problems today with this. So we'll speak maybe some reason to the situation. First one being in the interlude sections, which we've talked about before on these shows of Aftermath. There's an interlude section that really goes into the Rancor story and all of that. And the trainer from Return of the Jedi that we've seen in that, he's actually refers to the Rancor in Return of the Jedi as a Patisse. Okay. And so the big controversy has been, well, it can't be the same Rancor. It's got a different name. With that. Okay. If that's the case, is this just another moment where Dave Filoni and his animation team are going to completely retcon something in books or comics? Or does this mean that Jabba the Hutt has more than one Rancor?
It's like Saul and Paul. He's got a Greek name and a Jewish name. You've got a basic name and a Huttese name.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why people are getting all worried.
I don't either.
That
except
the
it's
whole
Star Wars
story
Twitter.
is going to change because the name is different. It's a pet. It's a different owner. Just maybe he named it what he wanted to name it. Can't people just accept the fact?
Or maybe it died at some point and they got a new one.
Exactly. Like it's not that big of a deal, and it's not going to change the whole Star Wars universe forever. It's a name of a Rancor that dies.
Well, let's be
names in Star Wars are important.
Turbis is important.
Well, when it comes to porgs, but not Rancors.
So here's the situation, and Pete Fletcher from Around the Galaxy tweeted this out, and I think it helps kind of calm the situation maybe just a little bit.
Okay.
With this, the word in Huttese or whatever, Patisse is actually the word for friend. So it's very possible that it was a nickname or it was a pet name for this Rancor, but the Rancor's original name would have been Moochie.
It could have been Buddy as well, because Buddy and Friend are really similar. So
because the canon story of Patisse is that Bib Fortuna gives Patisse to Jabba the Hutt as a gift.
Nah.
It fits perfectly.
Yeah, it works here.
With what's going on this. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit different thing here, because now we've got Jabba the Hutt and we've got crime syndicates and all this stuff coming into the story. Is the Bad Batch, Sam, is it really just dancing around the edges of a Tatooine episode that could include maybe Jabba the Hutt and a turf war between the Hutt Cartel and Crimson Dawn?
I would love to see a Tatooine episode. I mean, maybe we're all a little bit biased on this, but it feels like Star Wars always ends up going back to Tatooine. It's such a crucial point in
Which
Star
is
Wars.
ironic because it's the
middle of nowhere.
Right. It's, if there's a bright center of the galaxy, this is the planet farthest from it.
Yeah. So I hope they go back to it. I think it'd be cool. I think it would be interesting to see maybe like what you said, like Hunter worried about the compromises. Eventually, the Bad Batch finds themselves in the middle of a, gang war. And they're like, oh, maybe we've gone a bit too far here. Why are we fighting for a crime syndicate against another crime syndicate? So I would love to see that. And plus, more Tatooine couldn't hurt.
If we're going to Tatooine, so in the trailers, we see Rex on a desert planet. We all thought it was going to be this episode, right? Like
I thought so, yeah.
It looked like we might be getting
Exactly. But if we're going to Tatooine, we got Rex. And Rex definitely knows Obi-Wan. Come on, we can't have Rex on Tatooine without seeing Obi-Wan and the Hutt Cartel. And
you think they bring Obi-Wan into this?
I wouldn't surprise me. It's Clone Wars
to the Kenobi series.
It's Clone Wars. It would work.
It'd be interesting. Let's talk about some key takeaways from this episode, because again, we joke, we say side quest. Some people say
better not
filler.
talk about Wrecker.
With this. That's a big one. I mean, guys, it happens. It's about 4 seconds in this episode, but there's this scene again where Wrecker's sitting there on the ship and his head starts hurting. It's the same spot as the inhibitor chip. He's still having these headaches. Where are we going with this? Is it seem to be like they're setting us up?
No, because the Rancor punched him hard enough and fixed it.
Yeah.
It was before the Rancor.
I know. The Rancor punched him and fixed it.
Yeah. That's what happened. Yeah, totally.
I think you guys are totally.
That's why you're so tired, because it it wore him out.
It knocked something back in place.
Yeah.
I hope so. Let's talk about Omega. She can seem to, you were talking about it earlier, BB Nate. She's the one that identifies Sid as being Sid.
Yes.
The rest of the Bad Batch is ignoring Sid. And thinking that she's somebody else. Omega seems to really be able to read people. We saw this early in the series with Crosshair, and some other stuff. What do you think's going on here? What do you think is so special about Omega?
I don't know if she can really, if reading people is her talent, specifically because she could not read Fennec Shand worth saving her life.
That's true.
Literally.
Maybe she's just got this childlike innocence.
And then, I don't know, because, I mean, it was pretty obvious she had ill intentions, at least to us, but probably because we know who she is. But I don't really know. I don't want Omega to have kind of powers that aren't physical. Like, the Bad Batch has intelligence, strength, senses, and all that stuff. And then this person can read people really well. It seems a little bit weird and off, especially like how would the Kaminoans be able to do that? But it was really cool to see her, and it's always kind of this guessing game every week of what are her enhancements. So,
you know, I honestly wouldn't mind too much her being not a full on force sensitive, maybe just like a force. I don't know what the word is. It's like she's just barely
like Chirrut Imwe in Rogue One.
Yes, like that. Just barely able to like be influenced by the Force, not really control it or even really know what the heck's going on, but she's slightly more attuned to it than a normal person. I wouldn't mind that. I think that would be a cool,
that could work,
slight enhancement, such as strength or intelligence and stuff. Just slight Force attunement. I like that.
That's cool. We have a theory. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks on here that Fennec Shand was working for Boba Fett. I think that still holds after this episode. Did you see anything in here that threw that off?
No.
They didn't mention.
They mentioned the Bounty Hunter Guild, and that goes back to Boba Fett. And so, yeah, I think our theory still holds up.
Yeah, and I did get some clarification today as I was researching for this that he isn't necessary. We never find him the leader of the Bounty Hunter Guild in Dark Disciple. He's the leader of that Krait's Claw group from Clone Wars. But he's still sort of leading it. But I mean, it's got Tatooine connections.
Yep. That's another Tatooine connection.
I know, exactly. So, it's getting a lot of fun. It's becoming really clear that the Bad Batch is going to be moving into some darker territory. Will they continue to work for Sid as hired guns? And then is Fennec Shand hot on their trail still? And we didn't get any more Crosshair again, or any of the new some elite stormtroopers.
Weird.
So I guess we've learned our lesson. You might predict the Bad Batch correctly once, but it probably won't happen again. All right, Sam, what are you talking about?
Yeah, well, of course, last week, I discussed everything we knew about the Eternals. And now this week we got a whole trailer chock full of content. Now this would have made my job a little bit easier last week, but, now we're even more prepared to unpack everything in this trailer.
And that's coming up after these ads specifically chosen for you because feeding a baby rancor costs a lot of credits. This is Tatooine Sons.
Hello, Tatooine Sons, peoples, family.
Our family.
Our family. Before we get back to the show, I just want to take a moment to say thank you very, very, very much for listening. It's fun talking about all of this adolescent rampaging rancors and other things. But even more fun because of all of your amazing feedback and reviews and telling us how much you enjoy listening. It's always awesome reading your comments and reviews. And now there's a single place you can go to review us that really, really, really helps get the word out. It's called podchaser.com. And as our way of saying thank you for reviewing us, we will make a donation to one child in your honor. Your review will end up helping a child living in extreme poverty, and don't worry if you've already reviewed us on another service. You can give us a show review on Podchaser and even rate and review individual episodes every single week. Just click on the link in the show notes or search for Tatooine Sons on podchaser.com. Thanks again. Let's get back to the show.
Be on your guard. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
You're coming to us. Is as the footsteps of steps.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
I can't tell what the heck I'm looking at. The colors are so weird. Everything's so weird. Like, you can't tell in the foreground.
Welcome to Jack Kirby in the 70s and 80s.
Now, I understood that Kirby did this before he went to DC and did New Gods, but then somebody tried to correct me on Twitter about that and said that I got it backwards. Am I wrong?
No.
He
He did Eternals. They weren't.
Wait, now I gotta see.
They weren't quite doing what he wanted to, and so he went to DC and basically made the new story again, but New Gods.
Okay. All right.
Or at least that's what I did in all the information.
That's the information you have. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Let's do it.
We got an Eternals trailer. There's a lot to break down. I just used Screen Rant's article on it. So if you want any of this information I'm about to spit out here, go to their thing. That way I'm not plagiarizing.
So that's a good starting point for you, and then we'll have our commentary.
Exactly. So first off, we see this, cloaked ship. It is... Originally, we know the Eternals were supposed to be.
Don't say no. It's the end
you're singing
of the world. That's a cool song at that moment.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a great song anyway.
So we know that in the comics,
what are you doing?
They were originally an evolutionary offshoot, but actually, it appears they rewrote this story. They're actually just a group of ancient aliens sent to shepherd and guide the Earth. Very History Channel at 3 a.m. stuff.
Ancient aliens.
Yeah, with the dude with the hair.
Dude with the hair.
He was right all along. But this shot is clearly from thousands of years
I'm going to stop you here real quick. If you want to read a really interesting alien UFO driven fiction series, check out the Portent books by Michael Heiser.
That sounds interesting.
They're absolutely fantastic. Anyway, yeah.
All right, yeah. So we've got ancient aliens. That's the premise.
It ties into ancient alien stuff. So,
this shot is clearly from thousands of years ago. We have this primitive, group of shepherds and or nomads. And since this ship can cloak, it might actually still be hidden in the present day.
So the ship might be the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
ooh!
BB Nate dropping another bomb.
Yeah, this is what
This is why he's on the show.
I just write the notes. You guys do all the work for me.
Very cool.
And then there are numerous shots throughout this trailer showing Cersei and like her love for humanity, especially that window shot when she's looking
So
down.
she didn't actually literally wear flannel back 3,000 years ago. It was like her going through time or something.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, well,
that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we, she's like, it's so beautiful. At one point we see her helping like irrigate a desert. That's like the water and stuff. And then we also see her interacting with the human family, letting a little girl play with her hair. And later on in the trailer though, what you were mentioning, we see her in the streets of the present day looking pretty confused, though. It's possible some of the Eternals integrated into human society, offering up an explanation as to why they forgot who they were.
This is that stuff you were talking about with Sprite last week, right? Where
yes.
Sprite maybe have like blocked them from
or
being
they
able to know
just
where they're
over
at,
thousands of years forgot their purpose because they thought they were human. This could help explain why they didn't help with Thanos because they didn't think they were anything special.
Well, something's got to explain,
right? And then we see the Eternals wielding this cosmic energy in many forms. But this is important because this sets up things like Fantastic Four and Galactus.
How does that happen? I don't understand.
Because what happens is when, the storm, that whole group is up in the space or whatever, they get hit by a wave of cosmic energy that changes them. And I'm not sure exactly how it ties into Galactus, but I know he's very tied into the cosmic energy thing. Also, cosmic microwave background radiation was mentioned in WandaVision as well. So they're really starting to set this stuff up.
They were talking about that in the sword base,
yes,
right?
Yes, okay. And that's still the same thing. And we see the Eternals wielding this.
This is fun.
Yeah. And then we've got Ajax.
Yes.
Selma.
Is that the
with
bald...
a weird headpiece? No, weird.
Oh, that's not
Selma...
the cleaner, like the Ajax?
Oh, yes.
No, that's not the same thing. Okay.
But that's interesting. Another myth character we'll get to that. According to leaked Eternals merch, though, Ajax is the spiritual leader of the Eternals and has guided the Eternals since their arrival on Earth. She also possesses the power of healing and is able to communicate with the Celestials. This has been confirmed in merchandise. This is a big deal.
So we're going to see the Celestials?
We very well might see the weird designs that Jack Kirby came up with for the Celestials. I hope we get to see that. And then we see Phastos. He was kind of messing with that cosmic energy, making that weird, that's
the one
thing.
that's doing it's kind of, it felt somewhat like Doctor Strange. Yes.
Yeah. Which they're very similar if you think about it. They're just wielding cosmic energy.
Yeah.
may have been operating in the shadows, helping humanity develop technology. So the reason that humans may have learned what they have learned could be because of Phastos at this point. And the trailer shows us that the Eternals, although they've been presenting themselves as passive observers, they may have been directing humanity by helping people progress as a culture. We see them handing them the dagger and helping them irrigate and things like that.
Well, and then we also see some battles that look like they may what's Angelina Jolie's character? Athena or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then we have another one that they're looking like they're almost in battle against each other, and it's like different societies or something.
Yeah,
in this one sequence.
We'll definitely touch on that, all right, for sure. It's you're gonna like it too, but.
That was Gilgamesh, wasn't it? That she was going up against, wasn't it?
I don't think so, but you'll see. Since they've been helping humanity and possibly giving them technology and stuff, this has led the Eternals to be treated as gods, quote unquote. Jack Kirby originally intended on them being the inspiration for the Greek gods. Athena is like Athena.
Athena, yeah.
Icarus.
Yeah.
Ajax. Things like that. So this could be Marvel's way of bringing in these Greek gods. Also, Russell Crowe's playing Zeus in the new Thor movie.
Whoa!
So really,
which then sets up Hercules.
Yeah, I'm hoping they go there. And then, like you said, we have Athena. She's able to reshape that cosmic energy into whatever weapon she wants. We see her using a staff in the trailer, which is actually her favorite weapon in the comics. So that's cool.
That's cool.
Dad, you're really gonna like this part.
I know. Here we go.
I
already do like this.
In one scene, we see the Eternals in front of the gates of Babylon. Babylon is a very important location in the Eternals lore. This is actually where Athena began the controversial romance with the deviant warlord Crow, who we know is in the movie through tie-in merch.
Who's Crow?
He's just a deviant that one of the Eternals has a romance with. This is a problem, and it happens here in Babylon.
Okay, so help me understand. So we've got Athena, who is a godlike figure.
They're all pretty much godlike figures, yeah.
And deviants, what are they like?
They're kind of...
We talked about it, I know, but...
They're more like monsters or the evil mirror image of the Eternals, essentially.
Interesting.
So it's like, think almost Romeo and Juliet style stuff, like two warring factions and then two of them get together. I don't know if it works out in the end, but this is...
Yeah, but bringing in Babylon and all of that, and you saw the Hanging Gardens, like the Seven Wonders of the World on the trailer, and
exactly.
They're even talking about, the wonders of the world.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the trailer.
When you see that, you see Babylon in that. It's awesome.
And then we also see a moment that appears to be the fall of Babylon, actually.
Yeah.
This reminds the viewers that, while we see the Eternals have helped humanity progress and build these fancy societies and stuff, they also have stood by during many tragic moments. Offering up the question, though, as to why are they stepping out of the shadows now? To bring them to the light again, this has got to be a pretty serious threat. They didn't show up for Thanos, but now they're showing up. What could that be? Do you guys think that the Eternals have been purposely staying out of human affairs, or is it that in this film they've lost their memories, and once they've regained them, they will begin to intervene?
I'm not sure. I think that standing by allows human evolution to work, like,
them to build their societies.
Developing societies and everything, because that wouldn't happen if they stood and was like, okay, well, no war because we can stop you guys. And then society wouldn't develop at that point. And so
they're like more their mission, natural part of things.
Exactly. Their mission is to do that. And then I think eventually they do lose their memories because Thanos would have
that's fair
destroyed the civilization, so they couldn't help at that point.
Yeah, because Babylon was thousands and thousands of years ago.
Yeah, whatever the reason is, they have to give an explanation for why they are just coming into the storyline right now. That's better than Disney wanted to roll out a new series of characters so they can make more money in the movie theaters, which is the real reason that they're bringing them in right now.
And then another important character is Sprite. We get a couple looks at her. She's forever trapped in the form of a young child. In the comics, she actually really resents this. She's one of the most dangerous Eternals, actually. She's a bit of the trickster. She once took all of the Eternals' memories as revenge for being trapped in a child's body.
Interesting.
Could be an explanation as to why they don't know what the
immortal words of Dave Filoni.
Interesting. So that could be an explanation as to why they don't know what the heck's going on. Later on, we see Sprite singing karaoke on a plane. Wouldn't think this is an important scene, but there's a couple important points. We see a K on the door in the back, suggesting this is Kingo, the Bollywood star, his plane. There's also Captain America's first shield behind the bar. We're not sure if it's the original or replica, but it could suggest that the Eternals and Cap have worked together in the past. This has happened in comics.
But here's the thing you missed. You haven't talked about it yet, and I've been waiting. We see a shield that looks like Cap's vibranium shield.
When do we see that?
It's not painted. It's early on in the trailer. There's one of the characters is holding in the background the round shield. It's exactly the same dimensions and size. It's got a star in the center of it. It's got
I didn't see that.
The stripes around it, but it's just not painted yet. Does this explain somehow along the way where Tony Stark finds the vibranium in the shield?
I don't think so.
I mean, in the comics, the Eternals have worked with Cap before. At one point, who's the guy you really like? The Gilgamesh, and him actually, he somehow goes back in time thousands of years. Infinity Stones. He goes back thousands of years and actually helps the Eternals, specifically Gilgamesh, fight off, defend Babylon from a race of invading aliens. So
that's awesome.
The Captain
More
America,
ancient alien stuff.
Captain America.
Can't we just think that the actor...
That is very strange.
The actor acted as Captain America and he just has those props?
No.
Like the Bollywood guy?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I think there's a reason. They don't bring those things into this first trailer knowing that crazy pop culture MCU fans aren't going to see that.
So this could be setting up that Cap has worked with the Eternals in the past
Could they be setting up a Cap appearance?
I hope so. That would be cool. They even mentioned him at the end of the trailer.
That's true. Let's go.
They call him Captain Rogers, which is what he's called in World War II, not Captain America.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there's something in the background that is tough to notice. It looks like there's dead bodies in the background on the plane, suggesting that Sprite may have gone on a rampage, and she could end up actually being the real villain of this film. Or they could just be, blacked out drunk after a party or something. Next we see the dude with a really bad bowl cut. His name is Droog. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a weird name. He
looks like
names.
Barry Allen.
A little bit. Yes. Barry Allen with a bad haircut. He actually is retreated. We know this from merchandise and stuff. He is retreated from the rest of the Eternals, and there are things that suggest he might actually be somewhat of a cult leader. You've got these quote unquote gods.
Nice.
Eventually some of them might turn. He has the ability to manipulate minds. Also, he could be another villain. And then we see at one point, this is important, the Eternals linking together through cosmic energy. They're all floating off the ground. They got the circles around them and stuff. This suggests they may be using, something called the Unimind. It's the ability to unite their minds into a single consciousness far greater than any individual Eternal. So this could be them bringing that point in, which is really important in the comics because it allows them to be super powerful. That could be what they were showing there.
Oh. All right.
And then we've got a volcanic eruption. Really wouldn't think much about it at first until you look at some comic stuff. This could be linked to the fall of Atlantis, actually.
Yeah, it's interesting because in one of the trailers for Loki, there's an eruption, but I looked at the two eruptions and it doesn't look like the same eruption, the same mountain. That was the fall of, I think it's Pompeii or Mount Vesuvius or whatever. In the Loki one, they've confirmed that. So you're saying this could be Atlantis?
This is different.
So is Aquaman?
Sure. Well, I forget the character's name, but there is an Aquaman-esque.
Yeah, it came out. I've seen comparative dates, and it came out long after Aquaman.
Right. In the comics, a war between the Eternals and the Deviants came to a head about 10,000 years ago on the Atlantean world continent of Lemura. I think that's how you say it. Eventually, only a few of the Atlanteans were saved when the continent fell and were transformed into the aquatic race we know now. There have actually already been 2 signs of Atlantis in the MCU. Iron Man 2 showed a shield hotspot in the Atlantic in one of the screens in the background. And Endgame referenced a submarine earthquake possibly linked to the Atlanteans. So they could be bringing that story in here. Eventually, later on in the trailer, we see a massive storm in the skies. In the comics, this is actually associated with the arrival of the Celestials themselves.
And that's where you get some crazy Jack Kirby stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Nate's excited for.
This could be the event that brings the Eternals out of hiding in order to save humanity from the judgment of the Celestials. They could be fighting like space gods.
Well, I mean, isn't Thanos a Celestial?
No. He's closer. If anything, he'd be more of a deviant. He's a mad titan, but he's not a Celestial. Ego was a Celestial, and he was actually thought to be the last Celestial, but that very well could be wrong here.
Okay.
And then finally, well, this isn't the final scene, but the final important
Eternals
scene.
assemble. Oh.
Right. We see the Eternals all united in their costumes in a very Avengers Assemble fashion. There's a lot of them, too.
It's awesome. I'm excited.
I'm very excited. This is going to be so different than any other
and then we get the shawarma scene.
Essentially, yeah, they're all like, well, who's going to lead the Avengers now that Iron Man and Captain Rogers are gone? Crap, who's the guy's name? It's Cersei's love person.
I don't remember yet.
I don't remember his name. He's like, I could do it, which he actually is an Avenger at some points in the trailer, in the comics. So
interesting.
They are definitely setting up a lot with this movie. This is going to be like the what is it? Rosetta Stone or the cornerstone of the new phase of the MCU. Now that we've actually got some more info on the Eternals and some actual footage to go off of, I think we're all much less confused, but no less excited. The movie promises to take us on a journey throughout time and usher the MCU into a phase unlike any of the others. Be sure to check this movie out. I have a feeling it's going to be crucial to the MCU. Nate, what you got for us this week?
Well, I'm going to be talking about Injustice, and the series of Injustice was one of my first introductions to the DC universe, and it is still one of my favorite game series of all time. I'm going to fill Dad and Sam into what the hype around Injustice is all about.
This could get interesting, and that's coming up after these ads specifically chosen to distract you from the truth that the Eternals basically ignored everything while half the world was blipped away. This is Tatooine Sons. Well, we've been talking about One Child a lot before this in different breaks, and that's because it's a lot more
needs to be talked about.
Yeah, it's a little bit more important than, mythological space gods and Omega versus Omega and Boba Fett. And
Baby Rankers.
Baby Rankers, although Baby Rankers are pretty cool. The reality is you can make a huge impact. And I know that we've given you those opportunities by, like, if you buy a t-shirt on TeePublic and you give us a review on Podchaser, and we'd love for you to do those things. But if you want to be more engaged in actually changing a child's life, then check out the link in the comments below or in the show notes for One Child. One Child helps provide food and medicine and education and social development to kids. Shelter. Everything, to water, to kids who wake up every morning and don't have any hope that their situation will ever get better. And then you get to come into their life and do that. And you get to build a relationship with them, and you do become a superhero in their eyes. And so consider that. Check out the link in the show notes if you want to learn a little bit more.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
That man has no limits.
Injustice lore than I am with any of the other comics you've talked about. But I'm actually, I think I have an idea of what's going on here.
Great.
For one.
Is that because of comics or games?
Games, but because he's talked about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Significantly.
All right.
Yeah.
Talk about it a little bit more.
Going to be going through Injustice, the whole 2.5 hour campaign, and, try to put it down.
That's a short campaign.
It is. It's like a movie more than anything.
Okay.
So Joker kind of uses a toxin against Superman. Superman thinks that his wife is actually Doomsday. What?
Question. How does a toxin get to...
It was a Scarecrow and Joker gas mix.
How does that get to him, though? I thought only kryptonite.
No.
Was he, weakened with kryptonite?
No. I think it had some kryptonite in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
But Superman kills his wife who was pregnant, and
I didn't remember.
That's Lois Lane, right?
Yes.
Okay, I hope so, because if it was any other person that he was married to, I was about ready to have a meltdown. Okay.
And he goes insane to the point of he creates this thing called the Regime, one world regime, a lot like Flag Smashers, but he actually was able to finish his task. And so he basically has outlawed a lot of things. He has an army who eventually he gives superpowered pills to. They basically all have the power of Superman.
Dang.
And so really nobody has a chance to stand up to him. So,
and this is the way the story starts?
Yeah.
So it's like, this is like just the setup.
This happens over 5 years. And
okay,
so now
but just so I'm clear, that's like how the story is initiated. Then we have the story of Injustice.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it really starts here. Big thing is Lex Luthor and Superman are besties, or are they? Batman's actually been using Lex Luthor to get close to Superman, and Lex Luthor has actually been on Batman's side the whole time.
Plot twist.
So Batman has a group called the Insurgency, and that tries to rise up against Superman. It's full of Black Canary, Green Arrow, Harley Quinn, Batwoman, Huntress, all of those people.
I'm getting very Nightmare Sequence vibes.
Yes, and I will talk about that later.
Okay. All right.
But Batman has a last-ditch effort of reaching into another Earth and pulling out their Justice League to help him in their case.
Like Barry Allen almost?
Kind of. Yeah, kind of. A lot like that. But so he actually is successful. He brings out Batman and a few other people, but he also brings Joker
from another year
along with him after Superman killed Joker. So yeah,
okay,
yeah, which I'll get to a lot later. So Joker's back. Superman is livid because
he thought he killed him.
Yeah, so he's starting to go crazy. So Batman actually takes Joker in, and they're kind of working together,
like Nightmare Sequence.
A lot like Nightmare Sequence. Yeah,
interesting.
And then we have there's a lot of
Could that mean, like, could that explain why Joker was a bit different in the Nightmare Sequence? As he pulled him from another Earth?
Probably not.
Oh, darn! I thought I had an idea.
It probably doesn't follow Injustice that close, but we have a big battle. Well, okay, we have a bunch of little battles that happen. It's really just Aquaman against Aquaman and all that kind of stuff. Gameplay for a long. And then we have a final battle, Superman against Superman.
Another Earth Superman.
Yes, the Earth that he was able to pull from. And so they have this big battle. It took me so long to beat it. But you finally win. And this is actually the only game in Justice. Well, there's only 2 games where you don't get to make the choice about what you do at the end.
Oh, okay.
So Superman is locked up in a Red Sun prison, and the other Justice League get back to their
because
Earth.
Red Sun is the same color sun as Krypton, and that means he's basically human in that sun.
So he can't break out of anything. And Kryptonite cuffs, like he's kind of pretty
weak.
Yeah. So he can't go out. So the Justice League is put back onto their Earth, and the day is saved, and yay, everything's happy.
But this is DC we're talking about, so nothing's ever actually.
What do you think about Batman's idea in this game, pulling the Justice League from the other Earth, and kind of the ramifications that I had with Joker and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a weird concept. You can just reach into another Earth and be like, "Hey, can I get y'all's help real quick?" And
didn't even ask.
Put him back.
Put him in.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
and maybe I missed it because there was a lot there that you covered. But how does he actually do that?
Yeah.
Flash.
Oh, he uses
okay.
Flash.
Yes.
Okay. And so he just brings in a mirror Justice League.
Yes.
Interesting.
And they're the Justice League that we would be thinking of.
Yeah,
they're
good Justice League. They're good guys.
Are there any differences between the other Justice League?
Not really.
So what kind of game is this? Is this like
it's Mortal Kombat style game.
Mortal Kombat style.
But there's like a campaign along with it?
Yeah.
There's cutscenes? Okay.
It's a shorter campaign. Think Squadrons. It's more focused on the multiplayer and the fighting sides, but it has a short campaign. But the campaign was actually so popular that
the story of the campaign.
Yes.
Interesting.
So we're moving on to Injustice 2, and this one's a lot longer to the campaign because they actually are like, oh, the first one was pretty successful.
How long is it?
I'm not sure if I have an exact time. The first game actually like gives you an exact time length of the thing because it's like a movie. But this is set 5 years later after the first game, and Batman.
So 5 years after Superman was in prison.
Yes.
Okay.
And Batman and co, basically everybody else, are trying to rebuild the world from Superman being a jerk.
Because he like screwed up everything.
Everything.
Like Thanos level, but worse.
Yes. Well, not really. I mean, there were still civilians and they weren't like dying, but they were horribly oppressed.
It was a dictatorship.
Yes.
Okay.
And Gorilla Grodd has an evil society, and that's really the main villain of this game, at least for now.
Grodd?
And it's kind of like
I'm lost.
You're playing Gorilla Grodd. You know what he is?
Super smart gorilla.
duper smart gorilla, and it's super strong, and he has telepathic abilities and all that
Isn't
stuff.
he a Flash villain?
He's Flash, Wonder Woman. He crosses over every now and then. So Gorilla Grodd has an evil society.
And this is what happens when we switch to being a pop culture podcast. We talk about Gorilla God.
Gorilla Grodd.
Grodd?
Grodd.
That doesn't help me.
OOD.
Okay.
Or ODD. It's one of those.
Just don't OD over
But
there.
plot twist, Grodd is actually working for Brainiac. Whoa.
Who's also a really smart telepathic guy.
Telepathetic?
That's the word, okay?
He's like,
telepathetic?
Sammy, he has a ship that can suck up miniaturized cities, suck them up and put them in bottles, and yet keep the civilians alive in it. And he sometimes trades the cities on the black market.
What?
Yeah, he's pretty evil.
Wait, like that thing we saw in the Batman Brave and the Bold?
Yeah, that's Condor. There are a lot of bad guy
name.
Kryptonians in that city. So Superman has to keep an eye on that city. So Brainiac starts sucking up cities from Earth because why not?
Because he's a bad guy.
Yeah, because he's a bad guy.
He needs new additions to his collection.
And right after, actually in the first Injustice game, Metropolis is completely destroyed from Superman's little, when he kills Lois, it actually sets off a nuke in Metropolis because Joker just wanted to, ruin everything.
Why would they
for
keep
Superman.
Nukes in metropolitan
No,
cities?
he didn't. Joker grabbed it and put it in there.
Oh, okay.
But so Metropolis gets rebuilt 5 years later. It's great. Yay. But then Brainiac sucks up Metropolis.
So Metropolis sucks.
You don't want to live there.
Don't live in Metropolis and Gotham City.
And Central City, because that's another city that gets sucked up. Batman.
And Sterling City.
No, not that one yet. Batman and Superman start working together for the greater good. They put aside their differences and start actually
in prison.
Yes.
Whoa.
We don't deal with other Earth Justice League in this game. This is all this one. So do you guys think that Batman thought this plan through, working with the person who basically destroyed a planet for 5 years?
This is Batman. He's always got a plan, a backup.
Always, yeah.
He's always prepared.
I think, yeah, whatever.
I mean, what other option does he have? That's like the whole.
I'm just waiting for the Joker dragon.
That's from Metal.
Oh, okay. It's not coming in.
It's not coming in. Right. They should have that as like a
cool.
transition or something.
3 is Joker Metal. Joker dragon.
So Supergirl,
the Metal character.
They should.
Anyway,
there's not many. Batman Who Laughs would be a fun character to have, though. Supergirl actually shows up for the first time in this game. She lands finally.
She's the cousin, right?
Yes, she's 16 years old. She's been 16 years old for many years. She was caught in a wormhole when she was traveling to Earth. She got out and finally landed. And so Blue Beetle is also in this game. He's a
cool character.
And Dr. Fate are all big parts of
Doctor Strange, but DC.
Yes. Moon Knight and Doctor Strange in DC.
Okay.
So all three of those people are pretty big parts of the story. More Supergirl than anything because of the connections with Superman. She's really torn between siding with Superman or Batman because
I thought they were all working on the same.
Well, for their ideology, they don't have.
Batman's kind of a good guy, and Superman's been a sort of a bad guy.
Yeah. And so they have different ideologies and they make sure that they know that. And so she doesn't really know who to side with in arguments. Batman and Superman defeat Brainiac and Superman and Batman get in an argument.
No.
Superman's like, we should kill him because why not? And Batman's like, no, killing is bad because, last time you killed, you took over the planet. Supes loses his mind because
this dude's got anger issues.
He does have anger issues. And so eventually you make the choice. With Batman, you don't kill Brainiac and you kind of save the world. Or Superman, you kill Brainiac and he takes over Brainiac's ship and basically rules the world again. So
Superman's just a bad guy.
Yes. So the good ending is Batman's ending, like it should be.
I don't like this Superman at all.
No,
I know this Superman's a jerk.
He lost it when he killed his wife and son. But the good ending is Batman's ending, like it should be, because he's Batman. And if you choose Superman's ending, and why would you do that? Superman comes back to power and he takes over Brainiac's ship. He releases some of the cities.
And Injustice 3 happens.
Maybe. So it's the canon ending is apparently the good ending, where Batman starts rebuilding the world finally.
So what? He doesn't get into a massive fight with Superman?
No, he gets into a massive fight, and he wears this really awesome looking kryptonite suit. Like has like the lines of the armor are infused with kryptonite and all this stuff. It's really cool looking. And they have a big fight that also took me forever to beat, because of course I chose Batman. And so really, I haven't replayed that, and I don't really want to choose Superman if I do replay it. But would you choose Superman's ending or Batman's ending, and why?
I would 100% choose Batman, but I wouldn't mind going back through and playing it again just to see what the Superman ending would be. Also, I think it would be cool if Injustice 3 was like, okay, say you went with Superman, this is what would happen. I think that would be a great way to get
two different campaigns.
Right, and that would be a great way to get people to go back to play Injustice 2, to have that ending, and it would set up an interesting story for Injustice 3.
Would you choose Batman or Superman?
I don't know, because
Superman has a good argument. I forgot to mention this. He really just wants to be able to make sure that Brainiac's ship isn't used for any abilities. Use Brainiac's ship for the ability to put the cities back where they were.
But then he got.
But then he would become power hungry at that point as well. It's Batman, and nobody trusts him with that power at all. And so Batman would destroy the ship, and with it the cities. Because
there's the dilemma.
Yeah, that's the kind of dilemma.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have to play the game before I would be able to make that choice.
Because there's a lot of emotions.
Yeah, and a little fun tidbit they do in this game is they have the multiverse, which is basically little tiny campaigns or stories or something you play with characters, and preset bad guys are set for you, and you can do these specific fight training, if I'm not mistaken, version in the multiverse. And if you play it with certain characters, they have certain endings to them. None of them, we're not sure which ones are canon or not.
That's cool.
They have Darkseid's ending, which is a fun little one, where he takes over the world after Brainiac comes, and he actually has Supergirl as his kind of right-hand woman. And so we don't know if that's canon or not, of course. And that might be introduced in the next game, if there is a next game. And so we have the comics, which these are both just prequel comics to their respective games. The first one takes place in the 5 years between, the first one starts where we see Superman killing Joker up to leading to the campaign of the first game. And then Injustice 2 starts at the 5-year point and leading up to the Injustice 2 campaign.
Very cool.
They have a few other ones, spin-off series like, an Injustice one of the campaign. The first campaign told through the eyes of Harley Quinn.
Oh, interesting.
And then one that's the year 0, which takes place the year before Superman kills Joker, and kind of like just Justice League actually functioning as they normally do.
Have they ever taken the campaigns of these and put them into comics so people can just read the campaigns?
Not really. I mean, the only one is that Harley Quinn one.
Okay.
They are both very good, and they expand the stories very much. There are a couple moments in the first series that are really touching and really make you feel for Superman, and specifically
they've got to do that, because you can't take a character as iconic and as good as Superman and turn him into your villain unless you can emotionally connect with the reason why he becomes that.
And in this universe,
which is one of the criticisms of the nightmare sequences in Zack Snyder's stories in the Snyderverse, because they don't give you that opportunity to understand why Superman has become evil in those nightmare sequences.
Yes.
So
they also make it really known that Superman and Batman are really good friends and almost brothers in this universe. Superman, he wakes up in the middle of the night and he hears a second heartbeat from Lois and he starts freaking out. He's like, oh, we're having a kid. And she's like, I was going to tell you, but I knew you were going to figure it out anyways. And so he rushes over to Gotham City. He finds Batman, and Batman's like, you're having a kid. He's like, how did you know? He's like, I'm the greatest detective. And Superman's like, I want you to be the Godfather.
Wow.
And Batman is actually,
this is getting interesting to me now.
Batman's actually surprised by that. He did not see that coming.
So it's not is it a complicated game to play campaign wise?
No.
Is it on PS4?
Yes, I have both games on the PS4. They're both really good.
Maybe.
I'm so bad at fighting games.
Okay.
They have difficulty settings for the campaign.
Baby mode.
But we see that and Batman's surprised and he's really honored with the fact that he's going to be a Godfather. And throughout the first 3 or 4 years, the volumes of the series is in years. Mm-hmm. We see Superman's really conflicted and he keeps going to Bruce and wondering and they have conversations and Bruce is trying to convince him, you're doing the wrong thing and just come back. We will rebuild this world. We'll rebuild Metropolis together. You can
So they're like best friends
They are.
that have now become enemies.
Yes. And then Superman kills Green Arrow.
All right. So why are we talking about this? Because going through this, what is the excitement going forward for somebody that may be just being introduced to this storyline?
So there's excitement of the games and the comics and specifically the animated movie that is coming out is the thought that this is what's called an Elseworld story. And it's really the only Elseworld story we've had in a few decades. So it's exciting because it's near and dear to DC fans' hearts because Elseworlds was highly regarded back in the 90s and early 2000s. And it's important because we're seeing this starting to come and it's becoming a recurring franchise. We're hopefully getting a third one pretty soon. And it's really taken the DC world by storm.
But what's important is we're getting a movie.
Yeah, we're getting a movie.
Are we thinking we're getting this story in a movie form?
We're actually not sure. We're not sure if we're getting Injustice Year Zero, where the year before when he kills.
Are they going to create a series of animated movies on the Injustice world?
We're not sure if they're following the comic series. We're not sure if they're even continuing Injustice 1 and 2 and just not making a third game and making a movie telling the campaign.
Interesting.
We're not sure. So
here's what we do know. DC animation is really compelling stuff. We've been talking about it a lot in the show the last few weeks, and every time we talk about it, I'm more excited about wanting to watch these things.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. And so really the comics added a lot and they're really, really interesting. And the movie, again, it might be an adaptation of the first game. That's what's regarded as right now. And so if you don't have time to play the games and you don't really, I'd highly recommend both the comics and the games. But if you just want to get into the DC animated universe, this is a great place for you to jump in. Or you played the games and you haven't watched animated DC movies. This is another great place to jump in. And so, and I think that's about it. That's a lot to cover in this little portion of time. Again, highly recommend playing the games and reading the comics if you just have nothing else to do. The movie comes out sometime.
And it hasn't actually officially been confirmed.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been announced yet. But the Blu-ray features were released by DC,
and it was saying a trailer for it.
It was a sneak peek for Injustice, a new DC animated original movie. So yeah. Thanks for listening to my rant.
We'll do that. It was good. It was interesting. I'm excited about it. Awesome. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah. So according to polls, audiences prefer to see Marvel's Black Widow in theaters.
Yeah, 68%.
That's good. Get back to theaters, y'all. That's the whole.
If you feel safe.
I know, but it's so much more fun in theaters.
It is. Absolutely.
And a new Teen Titans Go and Space Jam crossover movie will give us
a combo I never thought I'd hear.
Monstars. So it's going to be Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the Teen Titans Go cast, kind of. As in
watching the old Space Jam
the old Space Jam movie.
I like it.
I'm sold. You know,
that one
I've
I'm
never
willing
even
to watch
seen Space Jams
because
Space Jam.
Michael Jordan's better than LeBron James.
Oh. Amen.
So I will watch this Space Jam, but I will not watch the next one. All right. Anyway, Zack Snyder. They were talking about crossovers here. Zack Snyder pitched Lucasfilm a Kurosawa-inspired Star Wars 8 years ago.
I thought all Star Wars is Kurosawa inspired.
Well, this one's like, it was designed to be a parallel of that movie in Star Wars.
Like one of those, his movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I like that.
And they turned him down, and he's still making it in space.
It's an
It's just not
original
Star Wars.
It's an original project now.
Like just a sci-fi.
Yep.
Kurosawa. Oh, I want to see that.
Pretty exciting stuff. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening to Tatooine Sons of Pop Culture podcast.
Yes, and if you enjoyed listening to my rant and Dad talking about baby rancors and Sammy and all three of us not understanding what Eternals is, it'd be awesome if you could share this with your friends.
Yeah, and of course, the show's only a small part of the Tatooine Sons world. Heck, there could be a parallel Earth version of Tatooine Sons we don't even know
we
about.
need to pull
We're at war with each other.
Yeah, Nate and I are fighting. So be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to get in on all the action and stay up on the latest pop culture news on Tatooine Sons.
Not really the latest. We haven't updated the site in weeks because of the move.
It's life happens.
Anybody wants to take over our website, you're welcome. All right.
Do it right.
Don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss our next episode. And you can drop a review on podchaser.com so that we can know that you love us. And then make sure you join us next week. We're going to have, once again, our reactions to the latest episode of The Bad Batch. Samuel the Hutt will give us a full-on preview of Loki. And then BB Nate, I don't know, you'll probably talk about another DC comic or new DC animated movie that they announced next week because they seem to be doing that all the time now. If you are in LA,
Lower Alabama,
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Lower
Stop by Fish River Grill in Fairhope on Tuesday or the Fish River Grill in Foley on Wednesday for some pop culture trivia fun hosted by yours truly. Anything else you guys want to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.